Welcome to another episode of Life and Times with Tub City. I got a special guest. We've been planning this for a while. She's really instrumental in the community at Hutchinson Community College. She's responsible for navigating and helping a lot of careers that's went on to 4-year schools, went on to the NFL, went on to guys with degrees and being very professional. We got Erin Ellis in the building. Appreciate you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
We've been planning this for a while, so it's like
been a while since we talked.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about it. So, Life and Times with Tub City, I like to talk to people who, you know, on their journey, whether it's professional athletes or just regular, you know, people that are successful. The first question is always, what's your first thing you remember about interacting with me? Do you remember?
Yeah. When I first started at Hutch as an advisor, I wasn't the athletic advisor to start. Okay. But we didn't really have one. Like there was one.
A lady and she left.
Yeah. And then they hired somebody and he left really quickly. Yes. And so
2 days, I think, or a week.
I think because of my office was where the other woman had been that was the athletic advisor. Yeah. Athletes just were coming in just because that's where they knew to go. And so
it wasn't like you signed up for it, you just fell into it?
Well,
is that what you wanted to be when you got hired?
No, I wasn't hired to do that. I was hired to just be a regular advisor. Okay. And to do stuff with international students. Okay. And so then just because there wasn't anyone doing stuff with athletes, I ended up just doing it. Okay. And actually we were, you know, the job was posted. Okay. I was supposed to be on the interview committee, and then I decided that I wanted to do it. Yeah. So instead of being on the interview committee, I threw my name in the hat. I interviewed for it, and I got it. Gotcha. And during that time, I had interaction with you because of football players. Okay. I don't really remember any like specific during that time. Uh-huh. Just that you were around.
I think I just remember you helping. Like wanting to help, and I was like, okay, she's gonna be my go-to. I'm gonna just go to her. So it's definitely worked out for everybody.
It's kind of weird how it happened, but it's been pretty good. I
mean, all the coaches. When I was working there, you know, I was a recruiting coordinator, and I'm always telling the coaches like, yo, you gotta call Miss Ellis, because she's gonna help you, whatever you need, and tell you the truth. You know, so it was always a good thing to have you as a resource, you know, to help. Oh,
you mean like when the coaches are recruiting our players from 4-year schools?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. And then when the players are coming in, like, refer the parents to you to help them out. Yes. You know what I'm saying? So that's a big thing. What history? Where were you born? Where are you from?
I was born in Hutchinson. I'm from Hutchinson.
You're a lifer?
I'm a lifer. Well, I mean, for about 6 years, I lived in Emporia when I went to school and got my master's degree. And then I was actually looking for a job anywhere in the country when I graduated. My master's is in rehabilitation counseling. Okay. So that's working with people with disabilities to help them achieve their goals around employment. So I was applying all over the country. Once I even drove to an interview in Dayton, Ohio. What? But I ended up getting a job here. Gotcha. It was SRS at the time, but DCF. Okay. Doing rehab counseling. So I did that for 9 years. And then during those 9 years, I worked part-time in the evening as an advisor at the college for a little bit, as the evening and online advisor. Yeah. And then that kind of, it wasn't as busy in the beginning. It kind of just trailed off. And so I was really just sitting in an office doing not much for 3 hours a night. And I was honest with them, like, you don't need me. Yeah. So that position kind of got eliminated after I left it. A couple more years went by, and then I applied for a job at the college because I just wanted something different. I was ready for something new. The position I applied for was actually director of financial aid.
Really?
Yeah. So I interviewed a couple times for that. I didn't get it. But when they called me to tell me they were hiring someone else, they asked me to apply for an advisor job.
Gotcha.
And so
got that.
That's how that happened.
So your family's kind of famous.
famous
in the town. Like,
I mean, they're sure local celebrities.
Yeah.
In Hutchinson.
Dad is so cool. Mom is cool.
Yeah.
They own Pools Plus.
Yes, and my dad started Pools Plus 37 years ago, and then when he retired a few years ago, my brother bought the business from him, and my sister and her husband also are part of that. So I'm kind of the only one not part of it.
I have to say, I hope I've said this before to them. Brian and Sarah, I have to say this to you. Like, I'm forever indebted to you and forever indebted to them by way of you, because you guys really helped me out in a time of need. And like, I gotta say thank you, Brian and Sarah. Like, I will never forget that, what you guys did for me, that you didn't have to do. And that was like major. It may be small to them, but it was like major to me, and I really appreciate you guys for that, you know.
Well, they are pretty good people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So, one sister and one brother. I'm the oldest. Have I met your brother?
He's probably been at some things, like parties, maybe, that you've come to. Yeah. I mean, I know you've been to the big like a birthday party.
4th of July over there.
Yeah, he would have been there.
Okay. I
don't know if you've actually talked to him or not, but
what was
he's the youngest.
What was growing up like?
I mean, we lived on 10th Street for most of my childhood.
Really?
Yeah. That was an interesting place to live.
Why you say that? Okay, back then, how was the town structured, like the demographic back then?
It was very sort of divided. Okay. Like north of 17th was the people with money, so to speak, and south of 17th was not. I think it was sort of, I think the town had always kind of been that way, because I remember my great aunt saying something to me about the differences, and that was the line. But I think it was sort of moving more away from that at that point, and it's really not like that so much now, I don't think. But it was, I mean, there's just interesting people. Like, the house next to us was kind of made into a duplex, and there were people always in and out. And I remember, and I don't know if I'm going to get this right or not, but I remember my dad saying that this woman moved in and she told him, my ex just got out of jail, and if I hear something around here, I'm shooting first and asking questions later. And my dad's like, wait a second, we have 3 small children over here. Like, how about we wait on that? So just interesting, lots of kids around, so that was good. And I mean, you know, we were running the neighborhood back then. We didn't have to, nobody knew where I was most of the time. I mean, we were out riding our bikes all over town. And I remember riding my bike from my house on 10th and like Adams area to the bowling alley, which was where that Cross Point Church is now. That's the that used to be the bowling alley. I took bowling lessons one summer, and I rode my bike. That's a long way to ride a bike. Like, I can't imagine letting Avery do that.
You can't do that now. No.
The whole leaving when the 7:30 in the morning and coming back at dark. Very true. Yeah.
So demographically, it's a predominantly, you say, white town.
Yeah.
So my question is, how did you adapt to be able to deal with so many different nationalities coming from, like, was it instilled in you by your mom and your dad? Because you're in the thick of it. Like, the guys you deal with is like from Georgia, South Carolina. How did, where did that
we definitely
come from?
have different backgrounds, for sure.
Did you just figure it out, or was it already?
Growing up, I remember having friends of, like, you know, every ethnicity, race or whatever. I think that's part of because of the area that I grew up in. And then in high school, a lot of my friends I mean, my best friend from when I was 5 years old is a black guy. So, I mean, he was my first friend. Yeah. We're still friends to this day. I think so that probably, had something to do with it. Mm-hmm. I know my parents have told me stories of us even like Sean and I went on a date when we were 5 years old. We went to the circus or I mean, something like that. But Sean and I are still friends. We talk pretty frequently, and he's not around here, but and I played on, I mean, I had coaches and teammates that were different from me. And so, I mean, I just never remember it being a big issue. I don't know exactly how or why. It just was never was. So.
I mean, I've been around coaches and they get the label coach. Yeah. And the X's and O's of it. But then the being personable and understanding different kids, like they don't get that part of it, and that's not really like you don't intern, you don't be a GA and they tell you just got to figure that out, and
yeah, I think part of me being able to do the job that I do with all the different kids that I come in contact with is that it doesn't matter to me. Yeah. Like I'm there to help you achieve your goal. You work with me, I work with you. Yeah. I don't judge anybody. Yeah. Like, I mean, I've heard everything. Yeah. Even today, this morning at work, so somebody said something that they, probably wouldn't say in front of their mom. Yeah. And then they turn around there, oh, I'm sorry, Miss Ellis. And I'm just thinking, that's not even the worst thing I've heard in this office. Like, I don't, I care about them as I don't judge what they do because everybody, so I think that's part of it.
We used to say, like the demographic where the kid comes from. Mm-hmm. Like to us, like I recruited Georgia. An Atlanta kid is different from a...
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I can tell the difference. I can tell who's from Florida. Yeah. I can tell who's from Atlanta. I can tell who comes from South Carolina. Yeah, it's
a different type of...
And it's... Yeah. In the beginning of this job, there's no way that I could tell that. I just knew this group was from, the South. I don't know. But now I can definitely tell the differences between... like geographically where they come from and if they were more from an urban area or not. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a big difference you can tell a big difference. Especially Florida. Like, who's from Florida.
Yeah. And it's like a Lauderdale kid is different from a Miami kid.
Yes.
That's different from a Tampa kid, Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I could think of some...
the way they act, and then sometimes it's even like their accents. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like you could definitely tell a kid from New Orleans over a kid from Atlanta, that kind of stuff. So going back, were you a sports like to do your job, even though it's on the administrative side, you still have to. I feel like have some knowledge. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I played sports growing up. I played basketball and softball, and I attempted volleyball. I wasn't good at it. I played golf. In high school, in middle school too, I threw shot put and discus and javelin, and basketball and softball were the kind of the two main things that I did. Softball was what I was really good at. Really? Yeah. So, and it is kind of like, I wish I knew then what I know now and stuff. Because I probably could have played in college if I had paid a little bit different attention to things in a different way or whatever. But so it does. I think it helps that I have some of that background and I understand. I mean, I didn't play in college, but I still understand the demands that student athletes have and how difficult it is.
So when you get to college, is your mind made up? Like, what you want to major in, or you just?
Oh no, I mean,
were you it took me 6 years. So was it? Did you figure it out, or what?
So, even before enrolling in college, and I went to JUCO. I have to Hutch.
You went to HCC? Okay.
I have an associate's degree from Hutch, and there, I think I first thought I wanted to be an accounting major, and then I took an accounting class, and I was like, no.
Okay, stop. Why didn't you just go into the family business?
I mean, it was kind of expected that we were going to college.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
You had to do that first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to go to college, but it was never, you need to come work for the business. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I did. I worked off and on there.
Yeah.
Here and there when I, like when I came back from college until I found a job, I worked there. But, no, I initially was an education major. Once I figured out accounting was not for me. I figured that out in high school when like my senior year, I took an accounting class at JUCO at night with a couple of my friends. And
Financial accounting was the last class that I needed to graduate.
No thanks. I got a D in that accounting class.
I barely got a C. The guy helped me out. I forgot his name.
I will
he
be honest. There are D's on my there's 2 D's on my transcripts. It's accounting and econ, and I was not at all interested in either one of those. So education major, elementary education. I thought I wanted to be a middle school math teacher.
Gotcha.
Went to Emporia State for that, and then I had one of those like late night epiphanies where I was not. Education teaching was not for me, and so I switched. Changed my major to sociology, so my bachelor's in sociology, and I think the only reason I did that was because one of my best friends was doing it.
You feel around in the dark and try to figure it out.
Yeah. And then took a semester off, and my parents were like, you have to do something. Like, you need to either go to grad school or like get a real job.
After you graduated?
Yeah. Okay. When I graduated with my bachelor's, because I was waiting tables and working in a bar. And
in Emporia?
Yeah.
Really?
And so they're like, you need to do something else. You've graduated college. And so I went to grad school and got my master's.
Where'd you get your master's from?
At Emporia.
Okay.
Yeah. Rehab counseling. I don't know why I chose it. I sort of threw a dart.
Really?
And I mean, I ended up doing, working in that field for 9 years, and I really enjoyed it. I had a great job. Did really well with it. But I don't know how I landed on that. And then now doing this job, it's not anything I went to school for.
Yeah.
I mean, the counseling part helps.
Yeah.
Having a counseling background, but it's never anything I thought I did.
Did you have any college moments where you were like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to go to college anymore? Because I had this moment when I didn't want to play, and I called my brother. I went to Fort Hayes.
Yeah.
It was the first game, but I was hurt, and I got pissed because they didn't play me until the second half. But you can't warm up.
Yeah.
Once you're already got a sprained foot or whatever.
Yeah.
I called my brother. I was like, "Hey man, I'm coming home." He's like, "What you gonna do? Work at Walmart?"
Yeah. I don't think I ever had that. I had a lot of fun in college. I think more I didn't want to leave college.
Really?
I could live that college life forever. But I wasn't an athlete in college. I had all the fun. Yeah. Yeah, I had fun. I mean, it was just a fun time of my life. Kind of sad when it was over. I mean, I had to join the real world. That's probably why I got my graduate degree, because I wasn't ready.
You wasn't ready?
Not to.
So once you got your master's, did you come straight back to Hutch?
Yeah, when I graduated, I actually didn't go through the walk-in-that ceremony. It was my dad's 50th birthday, and we were having a surprise party for him. So came home, moved into my parents' house, and that's when I was looking for a job, like everywhere, all over the country. I remember having phone interviews and that one drive to Dayton. I don't even remember what that job was. I think that might have been in a probation office or something.
So you didn't even care. You just wanted to go somewhere.
I really wanted to leave Kansas and go somewhere else. I did. But I guess I wasn't supposed to, because I ended up with the job with DCF and bought a house for myself and stayed around here. And now I'm, doing this. And the guys ask me, the football players, students ask me all the time where I'm from, and they freak out when I say I'm from Hutchinson. Like, what? No, you're not. You can't be from Hutchinson. Like, why are you still here? You need to go.
Yeah. So you get to Hutch, start working, and then you you're on the athletic side now, athletic advising side.
Yes.
Once you get there.
So I'm initially just a general advisor,
okay.
and then I get the position of athletic advisor. It's not part of the athletic department.
Okay.
It's still part of the Student Success Center advising and counseling part of the college.
Okay.
But yes, so then I move into to that role.
What was your like moment, like nobody, I wasn't ready for this, like nobody trained me on this, like?
I mean, really, there was one time, I don't know that I ever really felt that way. I mean, I had to learn as I went. And I had to learn all of the eligibility criteria and the transfer stuff and all of that, because I definitely didn't want to screw up anybody's football career or athletic career, period, no matter what kind of athlete they were. But there was one time when I realized I needed to probably know more about every athlete in the beginning, like when they first came. And that was when we had someone that was placed with us by Georgia.
Okay.
And I did not know that he was placed in I hadn't been given that information.
Got you. Because explain that, because some people might not understand.
So
when you're placed here,
so
you're off limits.
Right. And it wasn't so much like, let me see how I can explain this. So he was placed with us by the University of Georgia. He was going to be with us for one semester and then transfer to Georgia. Mm-hmm. So he was a qualifier. Mm-hmm. I didn't know any of that. Mm-hmm. So when I enrolled him in classes, I enrolled him just like I enrolled every other student. They're going to be there for 18 to 24 months. They need to graduate, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, he was enrolled in some classes that wouldn't transfer because they were remedial.
Gotcha.
So some things he needed to take, like a writing class with his English class, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And then one day I get a phone call from I don't know what her position was exactly with the football team. She was calling to check on him and make sure he had his grades, and can I get a copy of his transcript? And then she calls me back and she's like, well, he's not going to have 12 hours that will transfer to us, so he wouldn't be eligible to transfer. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what are you talking about? So I had to learn from her that he needed to have 12 transferable hours to be able to go in December. So kind of had to scramble, find him 2 late starting classes to make sure that he was going to have the hours that he need. Spent a lot of time with him because those were quick moving classes. So I had to spend a lot of time with him to help make sure that he stayed on top of it, got it done, because they were online classes. Mm-hmm. Like, he had to be at the computers that were outside my office at that time every day working on stuff.
That turned out to be a success story, though.
It is a success story. For him. Definitely, because he is currently playing in the NFL. Yeah. But for me, it was a learning experience. That I definitely needed maybe to ask more questions about new players when they were coming in. Yeah. I just didn't know that before. And I don't know how I would have known that either. Yeah. I mean, there is sort of a learning curve to this kind of a job. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you don't know things. Like, sometimes you just can't know everything until the situation comes up. So that was one of those times. I mean, I know somebody may have had the information and I just didn't get it. But, I mean, it worked out fine. Mm. He made it to Georgia.
Yeah.
And
he's making millions.
He's doing well for himself. Yeah. And, but again, that was it was sort of, I need to know more. Like, I need to know which students are qualifiers, which aren't qualifiers. Yeah. Like, for every one of them, to make sure they get exactly what they need, because it's different. Can be very different for students.
That's a success story. Can you think of any non-success stories?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, you know the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From your point of view, what do you remember? Season's over.
Yeah. Needed to graduate.
Okay.
he was being recruited. Coach came to visit, set up a plan.
South Carolina.
It was Bobby Bentley that came. We had, I'm sure he came more than once, and we had multiple meetings.
I feel like it was twice.
At least, I think a couple times.
Okay.
Would meet with the guy, with the player, set up a plan that should have been foolproof. All he had to do was follow it. But I don't even think he followed it like the very next day. If I feel remember like right, and maybe a couple days before he.
My memory was Monday was the plan, and I think he showed up late to the meeting.
I think that's right.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Tuesday doesn't do what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
It was either Wednesday the phone call came, or Wednesday didn't do what he's supposed to do, and then Thursday the phone call came. To me. I don't know if you got a phone call.
I don't know if I don't remember if I did or not. I know it happened really quickly.
The head coach.
That it was
from Muschamp.
We got to move on.
Yeah.
Type of
situation. And I remember, I got a call, and he,
I know I got after that, Bobby had sent me a note or something thanking me for my help, even though it did, which was nice.
But it wasn't on us. It was.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't on anything that we did. Not at all. And those situations are really frustrating.
Yes.
Because, it's really hard when we want something more than they do. Because you see the potential. Yeah. Like, he definitely could do it.
There was a kid, and I tell everybody he's probably one of the best receivers that I've seen. He was from Kentucky. Where, you know who I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. That hurts me to this day.
I know.
I seen him in Atlanta.
Did you?
Still looks like he could play right now.
Yeah. I see him on social media sometimes. Maybe not recently. I might need to go stalk his page a little bit. Stalk his Instagram.
When practice, he would be out there 30 minutes early.
Yeah.
Like, everything was right, like, amazing.
He
would not go to class.
No. Now, I taught a class that he was in, and I remember one day we played sort of a Jeopardy game to help sort of reinforce the concepts that we had been going over. And he was so into that. I think because of the competitive part of it. Yeah. I'm like, I wish you could be this way for every class. Yeah. Because I was impressed with him that day. Yeah. And I know that I wasn't always with when it came to this, showing up for schoolwork and that kind of stuff. But that's one that's sort of a disappointment, because he could have been pretty great.
Is there any? No doubt. I mean, he played as a true freshman in the SEC.
Yeah.
Is there any non-football like disappointments or weird situations? Because you deal with golf, men's and women's basketball.
I advise everyone on the men's basketball team, everyone on the women's basketball team, most of golf, just because they're a lot of international students. A lot. There's like 6 or 8 players on the team, but they have a majority international, and I do everything for international students, like issuing paperwork so that they can apply for their visas and that kind of stuff. So if they're an international athlete, I advise them also. All of football, a good amount of baseball, probably more than half of the baseball team. Track is hit and miss. If they're international, yes. I think I have one track athlete right now that's not international. But as far as a disappointment or someone that I thought would make it that didn't, in another sport, not that I can really think of. Okay. The disappointing part of them is it's not doing what they should academically to get to the 4-year school. Yeah. It's never that they don't make it professionally or something like that. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. And I can't off the top of my head think of anyone that just was ineligible going forward, like couldn't go 4-year. There's been close calls.
Yeah.
For sure.
Do you, do your friends, do your family, you got your daughter here, do they understand the part of the job that is not in the description? Do they really know what you do? Do they?
Avery's shaking her head. I think Avery gets it, but she's with me every day, so she knows. She
hears the stories on a daily basis. She hears the stories,
but she sees how many phone calls I get, how many text messages I get, when I get those phone calls and text.
And it's not, and some of them are not about class and no,
no, I mean, my phone has rang at 3:00 in the morning before. Now, my phone is on silent when I go to bed, so I didn't get that phone call, but it was there, and the message was there when I woke up in the morning, and it was somebody who had been arrested, and they wanted bailed out of jail, and there have been a handful of guys who needed that. I don't do that though. I tell them once they get their bail paid, if they need a ride, I might come pick them up, but I don't get involved in the bail, but it's not, there's a lot outside of athletics and academics that somebody might
There's a lot of
need help
mothering.
with. There's a lot of mothering, a lot of counseling. I can remember not even very long ago, a couple years ago, a student athlete who was very down and depressed about something. I spent a lot of time with him, helping him to make sure he could get on medication that he needed. And, there was a time where he didn't want to be at the dorm. So I'd go pick him up and we'd go talk and, whatever, just little things like that sometimes. I mean, there's been people call me that aren't even the students, that maybe they're friends. So-and-so is going through this, you need to talk to him. Or I've had parents call me and say, please talk to my son. He's not listening to me. It's just, I've given rides to the, clinic because somebody needs to get tested or something. You just really never know. You never know. I don't know that maybe I've seen everything by now. I don't know. I don't know if I should say this or not, but one time I remember helping a student count days to figure out if he is possibly the father of this girl's baby. I mean, it's hard to say what someone's going to ask me to do.
Freely.
But it's because they know I'm not going to judge them. They know that if they need help, I'm going to help them.
And you're a ringmaster. It's a lot of dudes. Yeah,
that's a good way to describe it. And it can be for sure.
I don't even think the people that work there really understand, because it's it looks like chaos, and it looks like what's going on, but it's
I'm sure that it looks that way to people, and I'm sure a lot of people think, oh my gosh, why or how would you want to do that? And it's a lot. My mornings are very busy, and there's a lot. Some days I don't even know what I did a couple hours ago, kind of thing, because so much has happened since then, and it's loud in my office and in the computer lab, but I know everywhere that the students are supposed to be when they're supposed to be there. If they're in my office and I know they're supposed to be in class, I'm telling them, I know that this is where you're supposed to be. Go to class. Would you like me to walk you there? No, I'm going, Miss Ellis. That all of that kind of stuff, and it is a lot of juggling. Everyone needs something different. Just this week, I think I told somebody, someday I think I'm going to count how many times I hear Miss Ellis in a day, or even just in a 3-hour span, and it would be something ridiculous, I'm sure.